Hello students, in this video we will be learning our 10th chapter, that is prepositions. As you can see over here, I have opened PDF number 2. Although I had sent this one to you first, I will be starting with this one. And you can clearly see why I am doing that, because we have the definitions over here. So you have to know the definitions before starting with the exercises. And students, for this video, I may use Google to show you some images for example purpose. Because to explain prepositions to you, I cannot use only words and sentences. I need to show you some images as well. So I will be using Google for the same. And also note that in the previous videos, I used to use Hindi for explaining. But in this lesson, it may not be possible to use Hindi for each and every word because you won't get the direct translation. Okay, so we'll begin with our lesson. First of all, I had given you some examples of prepositions. I won't explain to you each of these right now, but let us just read. On, beneath, inside, against, beside, near, behind, in between, among, above, under, on, through, to, in, into, at. We need to go further to understand what each of these mean. The first definition, preposition. A word which tells us about the place, time and direction of a noun is called a preposition. And you can see in the word itself we have position. And you know the meaning of the word position is place or jagah. The place or the time or the direction of a noun. I'll give you a very simple example using any word from here. Let us use the word on. Suppose there is a table in front of you and a book is lying there. So you will say that the book is on the table. So you easily understand where the book is, even without me telling you anything directly, without pointing anything to you. I'm just using words and you immediately can understand that the book is on the table means table ke upar hai, it is on the table. We'll go to the second one. Prepositions of place. Prepositions which tell us about the position of a noun are called prepositions of place. Students, please note, we have the first one as preposition. This is a general word. Please listen to me carefully. Number 2, number 3 and number 4. All these three come under preposition. As you can see over here, under preposition we have place, time and direction. So we have three other definitions: prepositions of place, prepositions of time and in the same way direction. Third one, prepositions of time. Prepositions that tell us about time are called prepositions of time. Second, third, very easy to understand. Fourth one, prepositions of direction. Prepositions that tell us about movement and its direction. Movement means a thing is moving, and in which direction, that means in which way it is going, left, right, up, down, whatever, are called prepositions of direction. So we are done with our 4 definitions. So now let us move on to PDF 1. Over here we will be learning all the exercises. On page 70 you have this instruction. I have not given you fully so that you can refer to this page number. Okay, this is just a story. It is like a rough story that has been given to you that you were standing in a bank when some robbers suddenly rushed in. And whatever had happened over there, you are now speaking to a policeman and you are reporting the whole incident to the policeman. So, how are you going to report? Over here, we have some blanks. Where were you when the robbers came into the bank? Now, why did we use the word into? Because whenever a person goes to a certain place, or you should say inside a certain place, you must always say that the person went into that place. Now, here we have the example of robbers. Now, robbers won't simply walk in. You will understand what I'm trying to say. They will try to rush. They will not go in a very slow manner. They will want to do their things as fast as possible. So they came into the bank. In Hindi, if I translate, it will become Chor bank ke andar ghuse. They entered into the bank. Next one. I was standing in a queue to deposit some money. This is very easy to understand. The meaning of the word queue is a line. Even for the morning assembly, you are instructed to stand in a queue. You are not asked to stand into a queue. The next one, how many robbers were there is a question. So the answer is there were two robbers. They came in at 12:30 p.m. Please note whenever you have a time over here we have 12:30 p.m. Whenever you have time, you will always use the preposition at. No using into, no using in or to or any other ones. Next one. What did the robbers do first? They first came to counter 6. Now I'll go back to the first sentence. The robbers came into the bank. As I told you in Hindi, bank ke andar ghuse. They entered in the bank. And over here, they first came to counter 6. Just imagine the scene of a bank. There are many counters over there. So if you move to any place, any particular counter, you will always use a preposition to. For example, if you meet the manager, you will say, I went to the manager. Or you can also say, I went to the cashier or whatever. One of them snatched. Snatched means छीन लिया. Snatched a key from an officer. Now the word snatch, that means छीनना, you won't do it in a slow manner. You just want to do it hurriedly so that you can take the keys fast. Now over here you means the robbers. So they wanted to rob whatever they could immediately as soon as possible. So they snatched a key from an officer. That means a particular officer was having the keys and they snatched it from him and put it in his pocket. This is very easy to understand. Whenever we talk about the word pocket, you will always use a preposition in. Next one. Where did they go then? They rushed past the people into the manager's office. The same example comes over here as well because the word over here is rushed. And I told you that rushed is not in a slow manner, it is very fast, very hurriedly. They rushed past the people. That means there were many people in the bank, but they made their way through our par into the manager's office. How did they escape? How did they leave from there? How did they get out? They made their escape by jumping out of a window. Very easy to understand. Just imagine a window. Now you cannot go through, that means R par. You have to jump out of a window. That means open the window and jump out of it, and jumping over the gate. Now let me use Google for you. I'll just give you an example of obstacle race. Okay, as you can see over here, we have various examples, but the best one with which I can explain to you is something like this, or a better one is something like this. Let me open the image for you. Now you can see over here, people are climbing over here and going that side. Now coming back to this, they made their escape by jumping out of a window. Very easy to understand. Khidki se bahar. They jumped out of a window and jumped over the gate. This is a good example of explaining to you the meaning of over. Whenever something or someone crosses something, just look at my cursor, crosses from here to here, that is known as over. We'll move on to the next exercise. Students, please note over here, it is a bit different than the others. Fill in the blanks below. Choose the correct preposition for each blank. Put a cross where no preposition is required. There are many sentences where you do need prepositions, and there are many sentences where you already know the position but you do not need a preposition. That may sound a little bit confusing. Let us go to the exercises. She lives in Dehradun. Please note, whenever we are talking about any place, we will use a preposition in, especially when we use these kinds of sentences. I live in India. I live in Silvassa. I am going to work. In Hindi we say मैं काम पर जा रहा हूँ. So it is the same thing. I am going to work. If you go anywhere, you will use the preposition to. Next one. The bridge goes over the river. Now to explain to you this, I will use Google once again. We will just search for a normal bridge. All of you know what is the use of a bridge. Because we have water over here, this bridge helps people, it also helps vehicles to move from this place to this place, or maybe from here to here. As you can see, the bridge is very long. So, going back to this, the bridge goes over the river. I'd shown you this image, over, going from here to here. I hope you understood what the preposition over means. Next one, we took a ferry. Ferry in simple language means a boat. We took a ferry across the river. I can explain to you in this same image. Just take the example of this boat. Imagine that this boat is the ferry. You are sitting in the ferry and you are going across the river. Now, why did we use across the river and over the river for these two sentences? I'll again go back to question 3. The bridge goes over the river. Please note that it is not touching the water, it is above the water, on top of it. So it is going over the river. Next one, we took a ferry across the river. Across means it is touching the water and you are moving on the water itself using something. For example, if somebody is swimming, just forget about the ferry. Just imagine that somebody is swimming from here to here, not using the bridge. So you will say the person is swimming across the river. I hope you understood the difference between over and across. Next one, I will see you on Tuesday. Very easy to understand because during school days also you usually get this kinds of announcements that there will be a holiday on Monday, there will be a holiday on Tuesday. So whenever you are talking about a particular day, you will always use a preposition on. Next one, she drove. Now, what is the meaning of drove? It is the past tense of drive, drive. She drove through the tunnel to reach the next town. For this, also, I will be using Google. We can just type tunnel over here and you can see the first image only. Very easy to understand, or I can give you this image for your understanding. Since we have some vehicles over here, let me open this image for you. You can see there are two cars over here. Now going back to this sentence, she drove. Just imagine that she, a particular girl or woman, is sitting in this car. She drove through the tunnel to reach the next town. You can also imagine that where the tunnel is getting over, this car is going towards that place, and so we can say that she drove through the tunnel. Whenever we enter into something, you can see this tunnel is closed from all the sides and a car is passing through the tunnel. We won't say that going in the tunnel, we will say going through the tunnel. I'll use some other examples from here. This is very easy to understand. You can see this side and you can see this side also, the entry and the exit. So imagine a car going from here to this place. You will say that she drove the car through the tunnel. Moving on to the next one. Dad went outside to find out what the noise was about. Very easy to understand. You know the meaning of outside is bahar. Many books and papers were lying around the room. Over here, you need to know that whenever we are talking about this kind of situation, many books and papers were lying. That means the room was in a mess. And whenever there is mess in a room, we say that all around there is a lot of mess. That means it will be on all sides. If you are standing in the center of the room and you are looking around, you will find mess all around the room. So very easy to understand. Next one. The people in the flat below are very noisy. Whenever you are talking about floors, or you can also say tiers, Tiers. Suppose you are on the second floor and you are talking about people on the first floor. You will say the people in the flat below. For example, just think that right now you are on the second floor. Now, taking your class itself, just imagine your school building. You are sitting in classroom of the fourth standard, that is a second floor. And if you are talking about the seventh standard, that is on the first floor, you will say that the students below. Whenever you are using any floors, you will use a preposition below or above. That means on top. Below means down. Next one. The train is at 5:10 a.m. As I already told you earlier, whenever you are talking about time, as you can see over here, 12:30 came in at 12:30. Always use a preposition at. Now the next one, Minisha lives cross downstairs. Students, please note cross is not a preposition. Going back to this, choose a correct preposition for each blank. Put a cross mark where no preposition is required. As I told you that in some sentences we know the position but we don't need a preposition. You may get confused about what I'm saying. Just read this sentence once again. Minisha lives downstairs. I'll give you another example. Think that you are in the 7th standard classroom. Or you can also think that you are in the first or second standard classroom and somebody asks you, where is the principal's office or where is the staff room? You will not say that they are below. You will say that the office is downstairs. That means you have to walk down the stairs. You can see in the word itself we already come to know the position. So in the same way, Minisha lives downstairs. You will not say Minisha lives at downstairs or below downstairs or on downstairs. Next one, Viju lives on the top floor. As I'd given you the first example of this lesson that a book is on the table. That means it is on top of it. So Viju lives on the top floor. We can't say Viju lives under the top floor because that will become a completely wrong sentence. Moving on to the next exercise. Use the correct prepositions from the box to fill in the blanks. The first one, the teacher was angry with the boy. Students over here, please note one thing. Whenever you are talking about any emotion, for example, being angry or being happy, even if you say the teacher was happy, you will say the teacher was happy with the boy. Now, for example, if you have a brother, if you have a sister, sometimes you fight with each other and you say that मैं तुझसे गुस्सा हूँ. So that means I am angry with you. Next one. Irfan has no interest in video games. Over here, please note, whenever you are talking about having interest, that means in Hindi we call it as dilchaspi. Irfan has no interest in video games. That means he does not like anything related to video games. For example, if you do not like any artwork or any painting work, you will say that I have no interest in painting. Next one, Akram is very good at science. Over here, please note whenever we are talking about being good at something, that means a person has a particular interest or a person is very smart at a particular work. For example, if somebody knows to operate computers very well, for example, Akram, you will say Akram is very good at computers. Next one, my sister is angry with me. Same example like the first one, the teacher was angry with the boy. Next one, the baby smiled at me. Now students over here, please note, this child is not doing anything with the hands, with the legs, not walking, not talking, just smiling. Whenever a person does something like this, you will say, at me. The baby smiled at me. You can't use the preposition with. The baby smiled with me. That means हम दोनों एक साथ मुस्कुराए. That will be a wrong sentence. Next one. One should always be kind to others. Very easy to understand. Whenever you are doing something for others, you have to use a preposition to. You must have also learnt many a times in moral science videos or value education videos or in your value education books or moral science books. They will always say be kind to others. Be good to others. Next one. Harish is good at history. Same like third one, Akram is very good at science. Harish is good at history. Next one, my brother is really bad at singing. Same like third one and seventh one. Being good or not being good at something. So, my brother is really bad at singing. Next one, an old man stopped me and asked for an address. Whenever a person is asking about any kind of information that means a person wants to know something about something or someone. Over here, an old man stopped me and asked for an address. That means he knew a particular address and he wanted to ask me about it. So, asked for an address. And the last one, I am afraid of ghosts. Whenever we are afraid of something, always use a preposition of. Now, do not get confused with sentences like this and sentences like this, because here we are talking about being happy or being angry or whatever, but here we are afraid. So, we will use the preposition of. Students, if you did not understand any prepositions, you can go to Google and you can type, for example, if you want examples of with, just go to Google and type use the preposition with. I'll just show you a simple example. Let us take any preposition from the second PDF. Let us use beneath. Go to Google and just type use beneath in a sentence. You can see this has already come over here. Just click on it. Examples of beneath in a sentence. You already got some examples. The earth beneath us. Okay, over here also you can search for more examples. Let us take some simple examples from here. A cat was beneath the table. That means table ke niche. Okay, now just look at this picture over here. The baby is over here, the bottle is over here. Now taking this as reference, or just think that the bottle has a fixed position. If I ask you where is the baby, you will say the baby is beneath the bottle. We can take another example. We sat beneath a shady tree. Dear students, please note beneath and under have almost the same uses, almost the same. We sat beneath a shady tree. That means हम एक पेड़ के नीचे बैठे. So you can use Google for trying to know more examples and how to use all the prepositions. So that's it for this video. Thank you, students.